the game that wouldn't end. It was supposed to be a simple live stream, 4 friends playing a horror game together for Halloween. They had the lighting perfect, the sound checked, cameras rolling, and a bright thumbnail ready to go. "We're hunting ghosts live." They called it content. But that night, the stream recorded more than they meant to. Trevor was the host, the guy who always laughed too loud to hide when he was nervous. He introduced the game, cracked jokes about ghosts not being real, and made sure everyone looked comfortable. The studio lights were tinted blue for atmosphere. Courtney, the skeptic, rolled her eyes every time the game's sound glitched. Shane, the clown, kept pretending to hear voices. And Arya, the quiet one, sat furthest from the camera, her headset slightly crooked. She wasn't a gamer. She didn't even want to be there. But Trevor had insisted. "It'll be fun. Fake jump scares. Easy views." When the stream began, it looked normal. They laughed at the awkward controls. The game loaded. Phasmophobia, Tanglewood Street House. "Okay," Trevor said, smirking. "Ghost Hunting 101. The in-game house appeared on screen. Small, suburban, ordinary. The virtual flashlight flickered as their avatars stepped inside. The chat was filled with emojis and fake screams from viewers. But around the 10-minute mark, things started to go wrong. First, the audio doubled. Viewers commented, "Is that echo? Why can I hear another voice? Who's whispering?" They brushed it off as a sound bug, until it kept happening even when the game paused. Trevor muted his mic. The echo continued. A faint woman's voice overlapped theirs. Not from the game. Not from any mic. "Do you see me?" it whispered. Arya froze. Did anyone else hear that?" Shane laughed. "Yeah, nice try." But in the playback later, you can see her eyes widen before the first flicker hit. The studio lights dimmed for half a second. Everyone blamed the power surge from the equipment, until it happened again. On the monitor, their in-game flashlight glitched and blinked in sync with the real lights around them. Every time the character's light went out, so did the studio's. "Coincidence," Trevor said. But his laugh cracked mid-sentence. Then the baby sound. The in-game audio played a faint cry. That was normal. The game had background noises. But this one didn't fade when they muted the system. It came from behind the couch. The stream chat exploded. "Someone check the back. There's a shadow behind her. Is that a baby?" Courtney turned her webcam to show the empty wall. No baby. No toys. Just the blue LED lights and a cold microphone hiss. Arya whispered, "It's coming from the headset." Trevor pulled off his. Static poured out, but beneath it a low voice. "Tanglewood. Basement." It was the same name as the in-game location. He stared at the monitor. The camera in the game panned toward the virtual basement door, half open, flickering. "Guys," he said, his voice barely steady, "that's not funny." Shane swore he hadn't triggered anything. Neither had Courtney. Arya wasn't even touching her controller. But the door in-game creaked open anyway. The sound that followed didn't belong to the game. It was too real, like a heavy wooden door moving against concrete. And this time, the noise didn't come from the monitor. It came from inside the studio wall. Courtney jumped to her feet. The wall behind her desk trembled once, softly, like something on the other side had just shifted. The camera caught it, a small, vibrating shadow in the drywall near the outlet. Trevor reached out to touch it. "Don't," Arya said sharply. He stopped, half smiling at her sudden seriousness. "You believe this?" She didn't answer. She just stared at the wall, her headset still hissing softly. The stream chat filled with messages again. "It's moving. Why's the screen glitching? There's another face on camera." But by then, Trevor had already leaned closer to the wall. The hissing turned into whispering again, a phrase this time almost clear. "Say my name." He laughed nervously. "Okay, what is it then?" The sound came through the studio speakers, through every headset, in perfect unison. "Anna." Every device in the room, laptop, mic, webcam, glitched at the same time. The stream froze on a single blue-tinted frame. 4 faces mid-scream, the word Anna burned faintly into the corner of the screen. The feed ended. And later, when Trevor tried to re-upload the footage, the file was gone. Only one thing remained on the hard drive. A short audio clip, exactly 3 seconds long. A whisper. Next level, your turn. The echo in the stream. When Trevor rebooted the computer the next morning, the file was gone. No backup, no corrupted data, no autosave cache. Just a blank folder where 3 hours of footage should have been. Courtney thought he was pranking her. Shane laughed it off and said maybe he forgot to hit record. But Arya didn't say a word. She just stared at the dark monitor, her reflection dim and pale against the glass. "It's not gone," she murmured. "It's hiding." Trevor frowned. "What's hiding?" "The file." When she clicked the folder again, a new file appeared, just for a second, then disappeared. Its name flickered long enough to read. Anna_rec001.wave. Trevor's hand froze on the mouse. That wasn't possible. He had wiped the drive himself before restarting. He double-clicked too late. The file vanished again, replaced by a low feedback hiss that spilled from the speakers. Courtney winced. "Can you turn that off?" "It's not playing," Trevor said. "It's just looping." The sound grew softer, lower, until it shaped itself into a rhythm. Not static, but breathing. They tried to reset everything. The mics unplugged themselves from the interface. Shane joked about haunted USBs, but when he plugged one into his laptop, the screen filled with code, thousands of repeating words scrolling upward in white text. Tanglewood Basement. Tanglewood Basement. Arya stepped back. "Don't open that again." But Trevor was already typing. "This is a glitch. It's just data bleed. Look, I can." The laptop camera light blinked red. Then the screen went black. The recording software opened by itself. The audio bar spiked. "Recording in progress." Courtney backed away. "Is this part of the game?" "No," Arya whispered. "It's part of her." That night, Trevor's Twitch channel went live, without him. No notification, no scheduled upload. The screen was just dark blue static. But in the corner, thousands of viewers started joining. "Is this a teaser stream?" one comment asked. Another replied, "No, bro, it's live." Someone timestamped a faint reflection, a shape moving behind the camera. It looked like a woman leaning close, whispering into the lens. The username on the stream wasn't Trevor's anymore. It had changed to @Anna_Tanglewood. Meanwhile, at the studio, Courtney couldn't sleep. She opened her phone and checked their group chat. 2:14 a.m., Trevor. "Yo, who's streaming from my channel RN?" 2:14 a.m., Shane. "Not me. My Wi-Fi's dead." 2:15 a.m., Arya. "She's not done with us." Courtney tried to call, but the line cut off in static. Her phone buzzed again. Private number. She hesitated, then answered. A breath. Then a whisper, close and hollow. "Do you believe now?" The voice wasn't coming from her speaker. It came from behind her. She turned. Her phone screen dimmed, but a reflection stayed bright, as if the camera was still active. The faint outline of a woman's face hovered behind her shoulder in the black glass. Courtney dropped the phone. The next morning, she drove to the studio. It smelled like ozone and burnt plastic. Every monitor was on, showing the same paused Twitch feed, the one she hadn't watched last night. The blue static wavered and then revealed an image. Their studio from above, like a security camera shot. Except none of them had installed one. In the frame, Arya sat on the couch, unmoving. "Arya?" Courtney called out. No response. She took a step closer. Arya turned her head slowly, too slowly, like her body was catching up to the sound. Her eyes looked distant, unfocused. "Courtney," she said. "You shouldn't have come back. Where's Trevor?" Arya blinked once. "He went to the basement." Courtney froze. "What basement?" Arya's lips curved faintly upward. "Tanglewood." At that moment, every screen in the room turned on. The live chat resumed, thousands of comments streaming non-stop, though the channel was offline. She's back. It's her studio now. Look behind you. Courtney turned toward the glass window that separated the recording booth. A figure stood there, faint, blurred by static and flickering light. Female. Thin. Head tilted. Her reflection rippled on the monitor, pale blue, almost transparent. The same whisper filled the room again, now from every speaker, phone, and monitor at once. Say my name. The screen blinked. A single word appeared in bold white text. Anna. The lights went out, and from somewhere inside the dark, Courtney heard the unmistakable click of a microphone turning on. Then a voice, her own, replayed through static. Welcome back to the stream. The stream that wouldn't stop. By the time the police arrived, the studio lights were still on. The computers, monitors, and cameras were recording, but no one was behind them. Only one feed remained live. At Anna_Tanglewood, streaming now. The thumbnail showed the studio bathed in blue, the faint outline of 4 figures seated in front of microphones. But when you zoomed in, their faces were blurred, as if the image itself refused to render what was really there. 12 hours earlier, Courtney had tried to run. The front door wouldn't open. The handle turned, but the lock stayed frozen, like the metal itself had fused. Arya sat motionless on the couch, her eyes fixed on a single monitor. The Twitch chat scrolled by at impossible speed. Don't leave. She's not done streaming. One more round. The microphone on the desk flicked on by itself. A woman's voice whispered through the speakers. Not angry. Just patient. Sit down. Courtney shook her head. No, we're done. The room hummed, every monitor lighting up at once. Her own reflection filled the screens, multiplied, dozens of her, each moving a half-second behind. Then one of them smiled. It wasn't her. The reflection leaned closer to the glass and mouthed something she couldn't hear. Behind her, Arya's headset began to hiss. Trevor's voice came through, thin, metallic, but unmistakable. She found us. Courtney froze. Trevor. Don't answer her. Whatever you do, don't. The voice cut off in static. The screen blinked again. Now it showed Trevor's face, pale, eyes wide, filmed in the same room but from an impossible angle, like someone else was holding the camera. Welcome back to the next level, he said flatly. Arya began to laugh, soft, breathy, not like herself. She's learning, she whispered. Every time we record, she gets clearer. Courtney turned toward her. Who? Arya's eyes shifted to the largest monitor, where a face was slowly forming through digital distortion. Long hair, hollow eyes, pale skin. The woman smiled. You called me, she said. The air pressure in the room dropped. The sound warped, pulling in and out of pitch. The next part was later pieced together by viewers who downloaded the live stream before it disappeared. At 2:07 a.m., the stream resumed without a title. No one spoke. The camera panned across the room, showing all 4 friends sitting in silence. Courtney's lips trembled slightly. Arya's head hung low, headset blinking red. Trevor and Shane faced forward, motionless. In the chat, thousands of viewers typed variations of the same message. This feels too real. Why aren't they moving? Is this part of the video? At 2:11 a.m., the feed distorted, cutting to static, then back to the same shot, except now there were 5 figures. The 5th stood behind them, half in shadow. No face, no features, just a faint human outline pulsing with blue light. As the camera zoomed in, the audio looped a familiar phrase, the same whisper from the first stream. Say my name. Viewers reported hearing faint knocks through their own speakers, exactly 3, spaced evenly apart. And then, Courtney moved. She looked straight into the camera and spoke, her voice shaking. We didn't summon you. You found us. The figure behind her tilted its head. You streamed me, it replied. Every monitor in the studio lit up, showing the same repeating message. Live recording detected. Session never ended. The next 30 seconds of the footage were the last thing ever seen on the channel. The camera spun wildly, blue light flaring across the lens. Someone screamed, distorted and distant. Then silence. The final frame froze on a single image, the wall behind the couch, where faint letters had appeared in what looked like static burn. Subscribe, like, share. Her name is Anna. The stream ended at 2:14 a.m. When investigators entered the studio later that morning, they found the power still running, but every hard drive had been wiped clean. Except for one. In a backup folder buried in Trevor's laptop was a file titled final_stream.mp4. It was empty, 0 bytes, but when they hovered over it, the metadata read, date created, 2:14 a.m. Recorded by @Anna_Tanglewood. Duration, live. To this day, if you search the username, a blank blue channel appears. No videos, no bio. Just one line of text under the banner. The stream never ends, only changes hosts. And sometimes, late at night, people claim the channel briefly goes live again. A flicker of light, a breath through static, and a voice whispering through your speakers, almost playful, almost kind.